The story starts in 2032 at the National Academy known as Valkyrie. Someone asks if the freshmen are ready for the challenges ahead, and without beating around the bush says the class exam is already starting now. Man, the first test was the elimination of goblins, and the group is already advancing, and man, this exam here is the fairest of all. The test is taken nationwide, and it's the viewers who vote for who's the coolest. Everyone's praising, saying that as always Valkyrie's recruits are the most baddest, while the director tells them to give their best. This was their chance to change their future. At the academy back in the forest, there are some goblins standing there when the guy already comes in and serves it right to their mouths. The viewers notice what seemed to be a wind relic, and another baddest girl already goes by slicing. There's a guy in the top of the chat like me celebrating a cute warrior chick. Whoa, here comes another one with a big axe and a dahlia on her head. Exploding man. Everyone watching the broadcast is praising, saying the level is high even for Valkyrie. Obviously in this place right man, hunger and strength decide everything even among students. The lingering question though is what happens to the weak in an environment like this. Two freshmen are all messed up there when a loud noise comes from behind. People tell the drone to get closer to see what's up, and there's a guy in yellow heading toward a goblin. Look at this bastard's outfit. Kid, you better watch out. You're going to get hit with a copyright strike, man. Then they'll take your story down and you'll be complaining. And obviously the gang guy doesn't even know how to complete the cosplay. Man with the hair on his head, of course he took a direct hit from the goblin and ended up on the ground. The chat is saying that this is one of the weakest creatures. There's no way a freshman gets beat up by something like that. The kid goes to grab the wooden stick on the ground, but at that moment he's strangely electrocuted, and a message on his hand says he can't equip that item. That's because no item was allowed while he was wearing the beginner outfit. The goblin gets closer and once again he gets beat up. What's this, son? Poor guy just got beaten and is already lying on the ground. Embarrassed people in the chat are saying it's better to give up, but they're impressed that at least he got up once more. Suddenly he says he equips armor, man, and butt naked even. He goes after the goblin. The folks in the chat are complaining, saying they don't pay taxes to Valkyrie to train a lunatic like that, and with this humiliation for the whole country, man, the academy ranked him as the worst student. The poor guy had 0 relic star ranking and was classy last in the rankings. Obviously in this world, guess what folks, interdimensional war is going on where monsters from other places are invading without warning. In no time humanity was on the brink of collapse. Most human weapons were useless and all that was left for humanity was despair. What seems to be our young boy man is standing still there when a red dragon appears in front of him and breathed fire at a man. However, it was in these desperate moments that the first signs of hope started to emerge. The items known as relics, something that was created when certain individuals came into contact with materials from the other world. They manifested in physical form like a kind of fragment of the soul. Our protagonist's father was a hero who protected people with his shield relic, but something changed that day. Tanking the dragon's flame, the father calls out to Hinata, tells him to grab Shizuku and run. He had to become strong and protect everyone. Oh man, this wasn't even cliche, right guys? At least our boy wasn't one of those who hesitates. Man, screw it. The father grabbed his sister's little hand and let's go my girl, let that fool die there. But from that day forward he decided to work hard and train tirelessly as if his life depended on it. Yeah, I mean, considering there are monsters in the world, it's good to get strong, otherwise you really die, man. Life depends on it. He got all this motivation from his father's words, and it's been 6 months since he joined the strongest and most prestigious training academy, but only recently did he find something out. Some guy in Kuromura, the red-haired dude, asks Hinata if maybe it's time to give up. Man, our boy is already crumbled on the ground and the guy offers to pour some milk on him. Yeah, he poured a little milk there. Peculiar, right? Our boy gets up there with his head looking like an actress from a slightly more risky series. Then the guy pats his back and puts up a sign saying, "Here comes the hero." Our boy man doesn't say anything, son, just walks down the hallway like an idiot really, but in front of him, oh look who's coming, son, the thick-thighed girl with blue hair. She gives him a stare and walks right past. Cold as ice, son, isn't that the sister he saved, you damn brat, just because you're all badass? Now you're ignoring my boy. Her name is Shizuku Menace, and they've been childhood friends for a long time. That's because on the same day he lost his father, she lost someone too. Since then, they've always had each other's back no matter what, but everything changed when he entered the academy. Man, she became one of the most powerful students for the powerful relic, and Walmart Satama obviously is considered a total failure who has nothing but that cartoon outfit, to be honest. He's already kind of used to everyone's judging looks, but when he opens the door a shoe flies at his head. Hey, Kuromura asks why he took so long by any chance, while the nerd next to him asks not to throw his shoe like that. Our boy looks to the side. Man, are there only thick-thighed girls in the school? What's this, man? Oh, for God's sake, we're in classy folks, it's just the weaklings with no relics. I thought the Kira dude was badass, but he's starving too, no talent. At least there are some cute young girls in class and Art Moe. Says that not even the teachers care about this class, right man, it's the trash of the trash. Then Kuromura gets close and asks where his looking man. It'd be good not to ignore him. When he's talking he activates his Relic 2 from Walmart. We already know his rank E and punches our boy in the stomach. Obviously the school rules forbid using relics in the classroom, but nobody gives a damn about that class man, and the bastard still asks if our boy keeps doing everything he does just to provoke him. He had to learn quickly to show respect and make sure he doesn't get angry, and is just wondering why he's not only in the worst class but is the worst of the worst, and obviously because of that the last 6 months haven't been easy at all. Then the guy the classes tells Kurum to chill or he's going to end up smashing the yakisoba hot dogs, and not abroad seeing the stuff on the ground. He says he forgot to thank him and stomps on his ribs. The two girls in the corner are saying it's always like this. They are even starting to feel sorry for the boy. The pink-haired one asks why Kuromura messes with Hinata so much, and the other replies that it's Hinata's fault. Kuromura is in classy. Apparently there was some kind of power demonstration test between people, and Hinata ended up having to face this guy, but he didn't give up no matter what, which affected Kurum's evaluation. The pink-haired one is impressed, saying that at least when it comes to taking a beating he can handle it. The other says she agrees, but even so he shouldn't accept getting beat up so much by Krumma. It's not going to help him at all. The guy grabs him by the collar, lifts him up and asks if he understands how pathetic he is, but then a strange system window appears showing 9,990 out of 10,000. Hinata smiles, which obviously pisses Kuromura off even more, and he punches him again in the face. The window increases to 9,991 out of 10,000. He keeps getting beaten and the points keep rising, then being attacked in the middle of the desks. Kuromura asks why he's smiling so much, and to try to provoke him says that since his relic is useless his parents probably were too, obviously that it's a nerve with Hinata, and Kuruma tells him not to stress man, he should just bring his family next time so he can beat all of them up too. What the hell man, wanting to beat the guy's family out of nowhere. Hinata's got his fist clenched and the guy tells him to come at him, but he thought it would be hard, especially because he's sure the boy can't even stand up out of fear. The guy with glasses tries to ask him to ease up, but man, he gets grabbed by the collar too, and Kuran Mura asks if he wants to switch places with this failure. Obviously he just says no, and he didn't care about that piece of trash either. Curry Mura says he doesn't believe it. Now he'll have to see him punch him in the face to be sure. Man, the kid grabbed a chair and smashed it right in the middle of his head. What the hell man, that really proved he hates the kid. At least the little system finally hit 10,000 out of 10,000. Man, Kuramura turns around saying to just grab that disgusting yakisoba and leave our boys. They are stunned, bleeding like an idiot. Even after training all these years focusing on body and mind, nothing changed. But at that moment the little window pops up. The condition is complete, take 10,000 damage, and now he can evolve his beginner outfit to the indomitable outfit. The guy cracks a little smirk, thinking that if results haven't shown up yet all he has to do is keep working hard. After all, giving up doesn't exist in his dictionary. Then he says there's a certain secret about that outfit. It was 6 months ago, only after the exam, that he started to discover it in front of one of the academy's training portals. He remembers going through hell in the exam and being ranked like trash. He knew that at this pace either he was going to be expelled from the academy or never become good enough. Unfortunately, that's how things work at Valkyria. That's because the entire place is funded by the taxpayers. Man, that's why people with poor performance are simply cut. He absolutely can't afford to pay for another academy that's as good as this one, but the problem is that to stay here he has to get stronger. He clenches his fists, swearing he'll give his best and make it happen because he knows relics can be upgraded. A simpler form, for example, is his sword relic. The more you slash, the more its traits evolve. The problem is he knows nothing about the relic he uses. That tight little outfit must have some special ability, because if it doesn't, he doesn't even want to think about it. Man, he just has to focus on what he can do to change his life. But there he is again on the ground, falling like an idiot, saying now he's screwed because at this rate he might end up dying right there. But he calms down and tells himself to remember that for a long time an attack like that would have killed any human. One question he doesn't understand is why his relic doesn't have any weapon. Maybe he just has to punch the enemy with that damn suit. Another option was to take off the suit and grab a regular weapon. Then that wouldn't make sense either, because he'd lose the only relic he has. Suddenly he remembers that moment when he grabbed the weapon and got electrocuted. Right then he runs toward the goblin who's about to strike, but man, he manages to defend himself, even pulls off a jujitsu move, throws the stick to the ground, and the system says he can't equip that item. At that same moment a shock activates and transmits through the goblin, who ends up getting fried and drops dead on the spot. The bastard smiles, saying he finally killed the first one. The only problem is that it took forever and he won't be able to use that trick again, not to mention that it was a huge effort and all he got was a little man of stone. Suddenly the item disappears from his hand out of nowhere. Before he can notice what happened, a message appears saying he absorbed a mana loss for the first time and that his indomitable spirit caused a reaction in the outfit. On top of that, He gained an expanded system screen, some added functions, and the upgrade condition changed to 0 out of 10,000. Obviously, he has no idea what's going on. Since then he's been deliberately taking as much damage as possible to make the number go up, and now there he is in the dorm saying he finally did it. He took the 10,000 points of pain required, and the outfit was going to evolve. Man, it must be awesome to have a punching bag with some. June waits right beside it the moment you feel angry. You just give it one, and he's wondering how to activate the effect from those 10,000. Right, how does the outfit update? The system says he just has to shout update, and instantly the evolution begins. A golden sparkle surrounds his body, and guys, he lost the Satama outfit. Now he really looks like a bee. This thing's straight from the B movie. Wow, what an old film. Looking at himself in the mirror, he says it's a subtle change. However, it's the first time he's heard of a relic that evolves through a mission like that, and he's excited to see what abilities came with it. Suddenly, for the first time, he can see his own status window, and in the information the relic shows, this was an item that gave powerful protection plus the blessing of growth. He's not sure what that means, but at the very least he must be more resistant. Looking at the clock, he sees the portals must still be open. Maybe he should go there to test what this is capable of. In the moonlight there's a goblin standing still when Shizuku passes by, slashing it, but the humble Manetsu says this damn place isn't even good for earning rewards anymore. And then they hear a step to the side and see the girl passing by. A man, the blonde girl with a dumb face, asks what it was, and she answers that it was nothing, but right away the friend notices and says she remembers him. It's the funny guy who caused a disaster during the first few days. Shizuku walks off saying that guy should just give up on the academy and focus on comedy. Instead, the friend finds it weird and asks why she's so mad. She says it's nothing and tells them to get back to practice quickly, but man, she walks off talking to herself, saying she thought she could count on him, but he just keeps disappointing her. Meanwhile, the blonde is wondering why the girl hates the poor guy so much since our copyright boy's outfit is unforgettable. Man, she's already wondering if he doesn't look like he's changed, and now there he is again face to face with another goblin. Good grief, the goblin comes at him with a stab. Instead of dodging, he decides to test it and blocks with both arms. Right, man, at least he got confident, because it seems like that outfit didn't take any damage. He hits the goblin in the chin, but the kid's strength still isn't all that. Right, man, the monster just grabs his head and slams the back of it into the ground. What the heck, little Kiko boy, and the monster is already pounding on him. At least with that outfit is not dying. Right, ma, what a humiliation. Man, life's tough for the boy. In a few seconds he's surrounded by goblins on all sides. He wonders when all those guys showed up and immediately tries to escape, but gets struck right in the back. Man, his vision is going black and he's just begging for someone to help. Then he remembers someone telling him that he must remember he can't always protect others. When everything starts to fall apart, he can only count on himself, and that's why he had to get stronger and become a hero who could be there for people when they needed it most. Man, he got motivated, but then took another hit to the neck. Wait, hold up, our boy. Man, now he grabs the monster's weapon, but as always the system says he can't equip it. Damn it, I thought it was going to be epic already, but nothing happened. He just got electrocuted again for trying, and the monsters dropped him. So now the desperate guy runs away, asking what he can do to get out of this. That's when the system says the indomitable spirit triggered a reaction in his outfit, and he had acquired the revenge ability. Off he goes motivated again. I'm not putting any faith in this kid anymore. Every time he makes that face like he's going to do something, he just gets beaten up like an idiot. Then the system says that to activate revenge, he had to shout the name of the ability. It stored all the damage he received and converted it into energy, which was released over 10 seconds, but unfortunately he could only use it once a day. Dang, man, the cooldown on that skill is really long. Seeing all the goblins rushing at him, he's sure this is the perfect time to test it. He shots revenge. The gauntlet activates. He runs forward and lands one right in the first goblin's stomach. Man, they go flying like bowling pins, one hitting the other. He charges ahead, hits another, one in the chin, another in the chest, one in the face, smashing another into a tree. Man, he finally killed something and collapsed exhausted. He realizes he now has a trump card for dangerous moments. The problem, obviously, is that it's once every 24 hours, not to mention farming with it would constantly put him at risk, so he couldn't keep putting himself in situations like that. Besides, he still doesn't really understand how this outfit works. It's not like he gained more stats or got stronger, it's just new abilities. Then he sees the mana stone that dropped from one of the goblins, picks it up, and it's instantly absorbed, and right away new features are unlocked. Well, what's this, man? He gained a bunch of abilities out of nowhere. He gained agility compatibility with knockdown type weapons, right, stun weapons, sword, reinforcement, durability. Seriously, the kid suddenly got everything, and now he doesn't stop. A week later, there's a little goblin walking through the forest, and he comes up from behind and lands a clean revenge hit, crushing its skull. The moment I said I wouldn't trust this bastard anymore, he gets strong. Dan Brat, that was the first hobgoblin he killed, and with that new man of stone, new talents were upgraded. Now he was able to use some weapons and felt confident enough to risk facing someone Stronger since unlocking that new list. His relic has been going through several transformations. The update list shows what's required to unlock each of the abilities. For example, to unlock that Air Actor 1 he had to kill 10 goblins, kill another hobgoblin, and also wear the outfit for 1 hour. So basically back when I said it unlocked, it actually hadn't. What unlocked was the mission to unlock it. Got it, that's it. And it seems he now also has an impact resistance skill, which is pretty obvious what it does. You already noticed this is the format to keep evolving the outfit, but the problem is that there isn't always a mission to do. He needs to figure out what triggers these changes. Sitting under the tree, he starts remembering everything that happened until he recalls a window that said he absorbed the Man of Stone for the first time, and the indomitable spirit caused a reaction with his outfit. The issue is this indomitable spirit stuff is kind of confusing. Maybe it has to do with his mindset, or maybe it's simply related to the emotions he's feeling at the moment. The problem is that both options are kind of abstract, right? There's no clear way to know what to do. Sometime later, there he is at the hospital. Right, man, what are the odds? Emmanuel, protagonist, doesn't have a mom in the hospital. Damn, it's like the Japanese isekai thing. He asks Hikari if she should be moving like that, and she says today she's feeling better, she's gathering energy, and soon she'll be out of there. Now I get it. That one isn't his mother, right? The mother is the one on that high little bed, because he asked how she was and Karari said, yeah, that she's the same as always, sleeping. Looks like an incident happened 10 years ago. Since then his mother has been unconscious and hasn't woken up, a phenomenon known as crystallization. As soon as the monster species started appearing, this disease came with them, and a cure still hasn't been found. Our Hikari apparently is the younger sister who was also exposed to the poison but seems to be recovering at the pace things are going. In at most a year she'll be able to leave that place. But the moment he starts thinking about the only real problem, suddenly someone shows up at the door, all cheerful. I greets Kagura, who greets them both saying she looks much better today, carrying a bunch of fruit. He says he couldn't come to a place like this empty-handed. Then with a hand on our boy's shoulder, he says he came at the perfect time. There's something he needs to talk about with the boy. Oh boy, the way he leans in close to whisper, you can already tell he's not a good guy. Then grabbing a can of coffee, he asks if it's not time for Hinata to give him an answer. This guy Jinji Kagura is the head of the Phoenix Guild. He turns to our boy and says that if he wants to take care of his sick mom and sister who's also fighting the same disease, he's going to need a lot of money. Apparently this guy used to run the same guild that Hinata's father was part of, and he asked our boy if he doesn't want to find a cure for his mother. Hinata just thinks that this bastard keeps pretending to be a good guy like he's going to do something noble, but what he's asking him to do is disgusting. It seems that the crystals form in patients due to crystallization have properties similar to mana stones. Mana stones are currently humanity's main energy source, and it seems there's some research going on using people exposed to that disease to kind of create a zombie that produces energy. Man, basically what this guy is asking for is authorization to use his mother as an experiment under the excuse that they are looking for a cure for the disease, and Hinata just says it's a shame, but his answer is still no. Kaguro puts his hand on his face and warns that he knows the kid must be running out of money. It's not possible his dad left that much. The hospital bills for his mom and sister are probably piling up. How's he going to take care of both of them at this rate? He tells Anata, to be honest, with the low-level relic he's got, he'll never be able to earn enough to cover the family's expenses, but Anatana just responds that it doesn't matter to him. The answer was going to stay the same. He would keep looking for a way to protect his family no matter what, because that was the last thing he promised his father, and he warns once again not to mention any of this to Hikari. Kagura says it's okay, he's not trying to make Hikari hate him, but if the boy changes his mind at any point, he just needs to message the same number. With that, he leaves while our boy stands there wanting to kill the bastard. Protecting his family has been fully his responsibility ever since his father passed. As he enters the room, Hikari asks what the conversation was about, and he says it's a secret, and Hinata is their man. Anxious to get into a strong guild to really start making money, he had to get stronger, in fact way stronger than he is now. Already leaving the hospital, he checks his phone and sees there's still time to hit a dungeon. He decides not to rest today on the weekend and to go right away, but right at that moment there are some guys cornering a girl in an alley, telling her to relax and come with them, they'll pay her well. Hinata recognizes her, the Kanyakumo, who's also from the school since everyone's in uniform, and she's there saying she doesn't need their money. Walmart Saitama just keeps walking, man, not caring about any of that. The guy in the beanie tells Aken to stop playing hard to get everyone from the higher classes is waiting for her. She asks what they are talking about, and the prettiest one in the white cap says everyone already knows what she did. She replies they've got the wrong person, but the traffic cone says he's sure he heard it from someone really close to her. He gets closer and says that if she doesn't want the whole school to find out, it's better she just obey. For a second it looks like she's going to give in, but instead she just turns around and spits in the cone's face. She can flips him off, telling him to stick it where the sun don't shine. The girls laugh. The cone while he grabs her arm and tells her to stop playing Innocent, even her family thought it'd be better for her to be sold off. She pushes him again, saying she has no idea what he's talking about, but the bastard is unstoppable and goes for her shoulder again. Perfect timing, obviously, for the hero to show up. Right guys, she stands. They surprised, wondering why Hinata is getting involved. The guy in uniform says his face looks pretty average, while the girls say he seems like that guy from Class E, considered the weakest and worst in the academy, they say. The relic he got is literally just a costume and nothing else. The Cohen says he remembers it's the idiot who had his butt out during the exams. He steps in and says the kid better get out of there. They got business with a Kanbar boy. Stands firm, man standing right in front of her without moving an inch. The dude goes in for a punch, saying that the trash from Class E is way too bold. Meanwhile, a Kongan doesn't understand why Hinata from Class E is daring to stand up to these guys from Class C, but man, check out the swag. Our boy grabs the guy's arm, throws it aside, follows with a sweep face first into the ground. Damn son, W kid style. AAM was impressed 1 second, and in the next is already up waiting for the next guy. Next scene, we're at the kickboxing academy. Some folks are yelling at each other, and in the distance there's the baddest training guys. She gives the coach a glance. He comes in to throw a punch, but she dodges, lifts her leg, and nearly lands a hit to his head. The guy gets all awkward and a bit embarrassed, says that as always she was amazing, and she thanks Takahashi for the training, and he says he expected nothing less from her. That trainer is acting a little peculiar. Man won't stop complimenting her like he wants something. Says he heard she has a high relic and is a hard worker with a bright future. She however turns around and says there's always a bigger goal ahead, but here she was again with that drama without him hearing. She says that at least that's what she used to think. Now it kind of feels meaningless, or she's just trying to get better at martial arts and nothing more. But there's our boy first thing already on the ground. Man, I'm not even trying to figure out how he managed to beat that guy alone, since he's always the one who gets beat the most in the class. Yeah, the prettiest guy in school comes in to throw a punch, but our boy grabs his arm and puts another one on the ground. Man, what the hell? Then Diddy shows up trying to grapple him from behind, but thankfully our boy elbows him in the stomach, spins around and lands a strike to the back of his neck. Strangely, Ain is super happy. What's going on, girl? Okay, we just got saved, but that smile is a bit too wide, isn't it? Seeing him there surrounded by 3 losers on the ground, she realizes that in the end he was never weak. It's just that getting a bad relic made everyone think that. Hinata then asks if anyone still wants to continue. The Cone on the floor decides he's going to wipe that smile off his face and pulls out his relic, fires a shot at him, but Hinata notices just in time and raises his arms to block. Man, he gets launched into the air. The boy almost took flight but managed to land safely. Kon weirdly says his aim was off. Man, I don't know if you noticed or not, but you can. Duden's looking kind of confused apparently, because he managed to tank that hit, and then more people start showing up to see what's going on. As soon as someone draws a relic, everyone's already talking about calling the police. The girls from the school know this is going to be a problem, and the rest stand up and everyone takes off running. Then Ain comes to ask our boy if he's okay. The attack hit him directly. He also unsure why responds that yeah, he didn't take any damage at all. Then he turns and says goodbye, but now she's curious. She asks if he doesn't want to know why those guys were messing with her. Hinata just turns around and says no, but from the look of it she wants him to ask. She gets a little awkward and says that if he doesn't want to know, she doesn't need to say anything. Everyone has things they want to keep to themselves. She sheepishly says that in the end he saved her, but she doesn't understand why, since she'd seen him suffer plenty and never helped. Suddenly his expression changes and he comments about the flowers. If she has something like that with her, someone must be waiting for her at the hospital and she should head there soon. With that he leaves, leaving her all shaky, wondering how she could have thought for so long that he was a pathetic loser or disgusting trash. She always believed he was weak because he never fought back, but he's actually pretty cool now at the academy. A little while later, look who's there, tapping his shoulder and calling him, asking how he's doing. He asks what it is and she just says she wants to thank him for standing up for her yesterday. He really saved her. He says it wasn't a big deal, and just as he's about to turn and head into the classroom, shot echoes through the hallway, nearly hitting his head, and he has to dive to the floor, saying he's unlucky. They go to the same school. Then the red-haired goth girl wants to know what Hinata did to make these guys so mad. A canine tries to step in, saying that if they have a problem, take up with her, but Cohen just shows her aside, saying the problem today is with that guy. He tells Hinata they only stopped before because the police could have shown up, but here in the academy everything's fair game. Hinata just says they're exactly like the people from his class, and then Kon smacks him in the face, telling him not to compare him with those classy losers. Our boy tanks the hit, gets up and goes in with a kick, but the blitzcrank handman, prettiest boy at the university, says that as long as they're using the relics, Hinata doesn't stand a chance. Whoa, he already hit Q. Their man nailed the grab right on the foot, picked the kid up and left him dangling upside down. The column even gets up in his face and says Hinata will only have himself to blame, since he was the one who got involved in everything. From now on his life was going to be miserable until graduation day. But suddenly whack, he takes a hit to the back of the head. Man pulled out the Gatling gun and says they are all a bunch of immature brats. Meanwhile the goth girl is wondering what she's doing. Looks like she lost her mind. The cone replies that now she really surprised him. Apparently she had a compressed bullet gun, which was cute, but she needed to understand that when it came to shooting they were in completely different leagues. Then he aims at Hinata's belly and says he's going to show how. It's done, man. The shot hits square in the stomach. His grip loosens and Hinata slides down the hallway. Asks if he's lost his mind trying to kill the kid, but he tells her to relax. If he survived yesterday's shot, he's not going to die that easily today. But right then someone turns the corner. Man, it's the other bastard who bullies him, the wretched Takayuki. Hinata's they're falling, getting up, wondering what's going on. Why weren't those attacks hurting him just like yesterday? He's not feeling any pain. It's like he's just being blown away by the wind. Then he starts wondering, what if it's not the outfit getting stronger but him? Apparently the stats he's earning from the mission window aren't being applied to the relic, but to his own body. Hearing Hanadia getting up, Kon wonders if he held back too much on the kid, but then man Hinata activates revenge. He charges forward with Blitzcrank's hand coming in while thinking that now he's not just some useless kid who can't defend himself. The punch lands smack right in the middle of Blitz's palm, man, and it rebounds back at the idiot who's launched into a wall, exploding right beside the other bully. Now kind of confused by what just happened, the cone is confused, and that punch could have even stopped a charging rhinoceros, man. Not to mention he can't understand how the kids have 100% after taking a direct hit to the stomach. Blitz is trying to get up saying, that really hurts. But suddenly the prettiest boy changes his story and says actually it didn't hurt at all. He's just impressed that the kid managed to do 1 damage. Now Kon's feeling confident, thinking Hinata is only standing because the hit didn't land properly, and our boy realizes he screwed up. He shouldn't waited to get hit more before using revenge. It's a messed up ability too. Dang, what a cursed skill. Now he's standing there a little insecure, wondering how he's going to deal with this since he has no more offensive skills. But enough of that, man, and his already back in fighting stance, saying he's tired of getting beat up all the time when a teacher shows up behind them asking what's going on and reminding them that class hasn't even started yet. The Cohen says that our boy got lucky this guy showed up, but they'll settle this later. Finally lets out a sigh of relief, and the red-eyed girl is just staring. Takayuki walks off, saying that for a loser he sure attracts a lot of attention. For now they'll let the kid have peace unless he wants to pick another fight. The glasses friend, though, has already noticed something's off of Hinata. He shouldn't be able to stop a relic like that, not to mention he's completely intact even after fighting someone from Class C. Sometime later it's meal time. As a good lonely nerd with no friends or boys in the bathroom but focused on his stats, now he's starting to understand how that cursed outfit works. The most interesting thing is that the effects stay active even when he's not wearing it. To be honest, in a real dungeon fight it wouldn't make a difference, he always have it on anyway. The real problem now was increasing his offensive power. He couldn't rely only on revenge, especially since it's once every 24 hours. But how does he reach the next level? That's when Takayuki shows up behind him and says Hinata should have said he was heading to the bathroom. Whoa man, what's this dude, you trying to corner him or something? He puts a hand on his shoulder and says he was impressed with the stunt Hinata pulled that morning. Obviously he already pulls it. He lands a hit in the stomach, says it's a shame, but his fun ends here. Hinata's just standing there, but if I had to bet, right, obviously that didn't hurt at all. And the glasses guy noticed too, man, our boy didn't groan or say a word. There's definitely something weird going on with him. Takayuki realized that the hit didn't work on Hinata, and it's no use beating him up if he doesn't have revenge active. He's thinking of settling this with fists anyway. When Ain appears at the end of the hallway, Takayuki wants to know what she wants with him, and she replies she's there to talk to Hinata. The guy finds it odd because he saw her earlier wanting to protect him too. Could it be she's starting to get clingy with the guy now? Ain tells him to stop making things up and says she just needs to talk to him a bit. Besides, what's the issue? Was he planning on starting a fight with the girl now? That'd be low in for trash like him. Whoa man, now you're cornered. What you going to do, hit her that? Just make things worse for you with no other option. He walks away telling his friend he wants to leave. She asks if he's okay and he says yes. Then she quickly adds that he should know she's not going to keep saving him from Takayuki. He'll have to settle things with that guy himself. He's got nothing to do with her. Then what was she doing there bothering him? A bit awkward. She says it's because it was her fault those Class C guys came after him. He however just says not to worry, he got involved in all of it on his own without her asking for help. The girl is turning more and more red. Right in another part of the academy, she tells him that her father fought on the front lines against the monsters that invaded from another world, but when she was still little her father was attacked by one of them and has been in a coma ever since. From that point on everything went downhill. Her mother chose to go into the entertainment industry behind closed doors, man. And the more she worked, the more she changed every day. There was a different man at home that led to her getting involved with a weird cult, and eventually even Akane had to hand over the money she earned to her mom. She still thanks her mom for raising her in the end. That's why she couldn't wait to get into this academy. Maybe the best option for her was to become a warrior like her father, fight on the front lines, make money and survive far away from all that. But just like our boy, she doesn't have an easy life since she's stuck in class E because of all that. Once those guys found out about her mom's background, they came offering money thinking she'd be willing to sell her body. She said no, they kept insisting, and in the middle of that our boy showed up. Hinata just wants to know why she's telling him all this. Did he ask with her feet all awkward. She says it's because he ended up getting involved in all of it, and she thinks it's fair that he knows exactly what he got into. Not to mention he doesn't seem like the type who go around telling everyone. He gives a small smile, and then she says that at least the classy guys disappeared and he didn't get harassed the whole recess, but she warns him that he should be careful because it looks like those guys will keep insisting. He replies that the one who needs to be careful is her. After all, those guys are really after her. She agrees, but says at least her relic isn't a yellow costume, and with that she walks away saying he can call her a cannon. The little rascals left there with a smirk. Meanwhile in the hallways, Taeyuki is pissed that just when things were about to get fun, that damn girl showed up. The glasses guy is always just sucking up and agreeing with everything he says. Takayuki stands there with a clenched fist saying that next time he sees that kid the lesson is going to be the best one yet. He tells the guy, go find that brat and say he's waiting for him in the bathroom. Takayuki and his obsession with Gen Hinata in the bathroom. Man, that's one peculiar dude. Then the glasses guy, who I still don't know the name of that damn guy, is watching from outside and spots Cory. Man, that friend of Ani's who's chatting with a cone. He